Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. My question is to the Premier. Rachel is an educational assistant in the Waterloo Catholic District School Board. She contacted my office because she is very worried about the violence that she sees in the school where she works. In fact, she has experienced violence herself many times. In the most recent incident, her hair was ripped from her scalp and she received a headbutt to the side of the face from a student. Premier, this is not an isolated incident, but rather evidence that schools need more resources and more people in the classroom so that students get the one-on-one attention that they need. Why is the Premier refusing to give educational assistants like Rachel the support they need to support our students and keep our classrooms safe?
Minister of Education.
Minister of Education.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I want to thank the member opposite for this very important question. You know, Mr. Speaker, violence in our schools is absolutely unacceptable. And I have to tell you that I have been having many conversations about this, and I want people out there in our province to know that this is something we take very seriously, and it is absolutely a priority when it comes to our education system. So I don't need to tell anyone here that our schools need to be safe, inclusive, and welcoming places, and that we have been listening, and we are very aware that there is a challenge here that we need to face and we need to address. And so that's why, Speaker, this year we move forward by ensuring that we have moved forward with an additional $223 million targeted for additional teachers and education workers. This is to support special education and other staffing priorities. Now, this is just one step that I'm telling you about, but I want you to know that there are a number of different pieces that we're moving forward with because we know it's a priority and we're going to make our schools safe.
Supplementary.
Thank you. Minister, 9 out of 10 teachers have experienced or witnessed violence or harassment in their classrooms. 9 out of 10. For years, teachers in my community have shared their growing concerns about the workplace stress that they and their students experience on a daily basis. Rachel told me that she's lost sleep because of the violence she has seen and she has experienced. She worries about the next school day. She worries about the kids that she works with and knows that without more individual help, some of them are not heading for success. What is the Premier's plan? What is this government's plan to make sure that every child and educator in Ontario can go to school without fear of violence in their classrooms?
Thank you. Minister.
So thank you, Mr. Speaker. And once again, I want to thank the member opposite for this question. And once again, I want to say, actually, we are working on a plan. And frankly, we're working on plans on many different levels. So as soon as we recognize that there were tools and resources that were needed, we move forward with $223 million, Speaker. But we didn't stop there. In fact, we are continuing to look at this issue. We have a working group on health and safety. I'm working with the Minister of Labour on this because we recognize we need to put those supports in place. So we're not just talking about the issues and challenges out there, Mr. Speaker. We are actually on the ground every day doing everything we can. Here's some of the things we're doing. We move forward with an additional $6 million to create new and expanded programming to support staff. We are looking, as part of our working group, at expanding access to information, enhancing the Ministry of Labour's role, streamlining reporting requirements. All of these pieces are pieces teachers and support workers told us they need.
Thank you. Final supplementary.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Well, the plans need to be funded and the funds need to be enveloped for the classroom, Minister. That needs to happen in this province. This Liberal government's track record when it comes to our public schools is highly questionable. Ontario schools are facing a backlog of $15 billion in capital in maintaining the infrastructure that we've already invested in. Parents are stressed because they're not seeing the resources, particularly for special education children. Workplace stress is up, and it is impacting the learning environment. Learning conditions are working conditions in our education system. This government's failure to review the education funding formula as promised has resulted in a system that is both stressed for our students and for our staff and for our parents. Why is this Premier not prioritizing public education in the province of Ontario?
The seated, please. Be seated, please. Thank you. Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And once again, I want to make it very clear that we take this seriously, that violence in our schools is unacceptable, and that we are working on many different levels, not on just one level, in order to make sure that we're putting the supports in place. We're putting in supports right now. We're looking at the other supports that we need by working with the Ministry of Labour on health and safety in the classroom. I have a working group on this that I'm talking to, and I speak to people.
Wrap up, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just want to say that we are putting historic amounts of money into our school system because we understand how important it is to create safe learning environments.
New question.